I'd like to call to order this meeting of the North Brunswick Township Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Brockman.
Here.
Mr. Duran Harris. Miss James.
Here.
Miss Keefe. Mr. Ligori.
Here.
Dr. Patel.
Here.
Ms. Toth.
Here.
Mr. Wen.
Here.
And Ms. Zulik.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, the public notice of this meeting, which included the time, date, and location, was distributed at 3 p.m. on Thursday, March 2nd, 2022, in the following manner. Posted on the Board of Ed, on the bulletin board reserved for announcements in the board office, 25 Linwood Place, North Brunswick. Mailed to the Home News Tribune, Sentinel, and the clerk of the Township of North Brunswick. Delivered to the 9 duly elected board members.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We are very happy tonight to be able to have a presentation for you. I know there was a lot of discussion previously in the state, and with some family members coming out to several of our board meetings with concerns about the physical education and health updates to our curriculum, that the state had adopted some new standards. Our PE and health teachers have worked diligently with Supervisor Mike Sipot this summer on updating our curriculum to meet the standards, and Mr. Sipot is here to share out their work and talk to you about our updated curriculum. So if you want to come up, Mr. Sipot, we're happy to have you here. I think you're comfortable speaking with a large group. Yes, please do, so it goes out to all the millions of viewers if you need to lift it up. Does it come off? It should come off of the stand there. Yep, absolutely. And you tell me. Yep.
Good, I can see it too. I don't have my
Okay.
glasses. I thought I was here to talk about how we're going to beat South Brunswick, but
You can
do that after.
we can talk about that later though. All right, so, I'm excited. I started this job last fall, and I'm excited to represent North Brunswick Township as the supervisor of phys ed and health K-12, and I think it's important that we show the importance of it in the district and to these children, the boys and girls that are in all these classes. And I can assure you that the teachers that are teaching your sons and daughters are excellent. I mean, I saw every single one of them more than once, and from someone that's been in 30 years and someone that just started teaching, there's energy, there's enthusiasm, and they do a really, really great job. What we did was kind of revamp an older curriculum that was about 7 years old, and I think we made it so much better, and we really focus on the child itself and just get everything out of them before they move on, when they get to high school and they move on to the real world. So we can go on to the next slide. I'm not going to bore you with the mission statement. The mission statement, to make it really short, to really talk about it, is really getting everything out of the child that we can from K-12, whether it's learning about empathy and communication and character and teamwork and just enjoying being out of the classroom. Not saying it's bad to be in the classroom, but sitting in the classroom all day and they get to be in that environment, I feel like they're gaining who they are and what their personality really is. And I think that's important. You're not in a classroom setting, but they're with others in a different setting where they can really express who they are and what their personality may be as they get older. So that's really, in a nutshell, the mission statement of just ensuring what we give to the kid through the child through physical education and health. The same thing with the goal. All right. I want to kind of get into. I kind of made very simple slides, getting into the meat and potatoes of everything that we are teaching in each grade level. So we're only focusing on health right now. So K-4 health content. What your child will get through that is team building, cooperation, character education, healthy relationships. What does that mean? Conflict resolution, problem solving, communication with peers, safety, which is a key thing at that age. Safety meaning how we run in space, being safe running around in the gym, if we're outside using the equipment. And like I said before, finding your personality. How do we teach that? The best thing about K-4 phys ed is that you can teach that in games. And there's a lot of cross-curricular things that you can do, whether it's math, whether it's science, and everything that you can do in that section of content can be done in games or with a unit. One thing that we're going to add this year, something that I learned at Bridgewater, we want to do something like the show Survivor, where you put a group of kids that maybe wouldn't be sitting next to each other in the lunchroom. They all have different personalities, and they are a team, and they have to get together and get along together to, move on to be, team building things, math problems. So there's different games and activities that you do in that content that you gain a friendship. You might gain a friendship with someone that you never would think that you would be friends with. And you learn the character with that, and you learn team building through that unit that we're doing. So we talked to the K-4 teachers, and we would like to implement that this year in every elementary school. So that's where we're at with the K-4 health content and what they're getting out of the health part. 5th grade health, we're getting back to, we're moving into Linwood. All right, we're talking about wellness, puberty and personal hygiene, relationships, first aid, which is bites, poison, burns, tick-borne. The tick-borne diseases is something new, so we added that to the curriculum. Stings and problem solving. You're always going to see something with problem solving and the social and emotional health, which I think is important at every level from K to 12. All right, we see puberty and personal hygiene. The one thing about 5th grade is that parents have the option to opt out of that if they want to. If not, they get in the classroom and they learn it. Relationships, meaning, again, healthy relationships. How do you solve a problem with someone? You're fighting with someone, how do you solve it? So it's more, it gets into the communication part of it, more than anything. Wellness, meaning taking care of your body, learning what's right, what's healthy. All right, they need to learn that at a young age, going into middle school and high school. That's 5th grade health content. The 6th grade health content, bullying, nutrition, eating behaviors and weight management, fitness, drugs and alcohol, social and emotional learning, respecting character. The one thing I could say about the Linwood staff that we have, they do a tremendous job on the nutrition, the eating, and the weight management and fitness. They have a huge program where they teach the kids, and they are showing the students in class what is a proper workout, what is a proper eating behavior. They keep a log, they keep a nutrition log. They do it for about a month, and they teach the students what they're eating, what they're putting into their bodies, what's good, what's bad. It kind of jumps into the drugs and alcohol, where they teach all the bad things that happen with that. Respecting character, again, it's another thing. We're always teaching character throughout each grade, because I think that's important once you become into the high schools. One thing that you see is like, maybe that kid doesn't have much character, maybe their communication skills are off. We need to teach that at a younger age so they come in a little more mature once they get to the high school. Bullying could be a million things. It could be cyber, it could be mental, it could be physical. So we teach all the things, the preventions of bullying, and we also teach different things that you can avoid that, and if you're in that situation, how you get out of it, and who you talk to, and all the steps for bullying with that. That's 6th grade. We're going into the middle school now. All right, 7th grade, we're talking about self-esteem, conflict resolution, stress management, which I think is very important now in the times with, after COVID, stress management is a great thing. I know my football players do yoga. We try to get their minds right. So there's a lot of things, there's a million things you can do with stress management. Social emotional learning, you'll always see that. You teach the kids about empathy, teach the kids to care about other people. Healthy relationships, drugs and alcohol, life choices, making the right choices through, if you're involved with it, if you're around it at home, what are the different life choices that you get with drugs and alcohol. Healthy relationships, 7th and 8th grade, some of the kids start to, see the different, so this is healthy, this is not healthy. So we go through some of those things of what is a healthy relationship. Stress management, conflict resolution, we go through different scenarios in the classroom where, what would you do in this situation, what would you do in this situation? You go through different groups and you hear each other how you would, and people have different answers, and then you get together and say, this is the best one, maybe not this one. So I think it's important that they learn to, not so much putting their phone down and actually talking to someone in their face and resolving a resolution with a peer instead of a lot of times they use the social media to do it, but that we try to teach them that the important thing is to go up to someone and resolve it within face to face with your peer. That's 7th grade. 8th grade, nutrition's a big one, and we stress this at the high school, and we really want to stress it in the middle school about what they're eating on top of what they're doing in phys ed, because I think physical fitness and nutrition, and we all know, in not just New Jersey but the entire country, that is important for these kids at this age. That their nutrition and what they're doing, what is a healthy lifestyle, what are lifetime skills that they can do for the rest of their life, to keep them healthy, and that if they're doing it, maybe their parents do it, maybe something's wrong, that their parents need a healthy lifestyle, and then it goes down the chain that, hey, I see my son or daughter doing it, now we're gonna start doing it. So I think it's a full circle family nutrition and health lifestyle. We teach about safe sex, sexual diseases, pregnancy, the different stages, and leading up to, from stage 1 till pregnancy, and basic first aid and CPR, and what you see is a lot of things that we teach get revisited at another time. So yes, you learn about first aid and CPR. When you're a junior in high school, you relearn that again. That's 8th grade. So now we're in high school, all right? 9th grade, freshman, health content. See, we go back to bullying, so we reteach the bullying part of, and again, from 7th and 6th grade to 9th grade, the bullying might be a little different. Maybe it's not picking at the kid at the recess, now it might be a social media bullying. So we have to teach you different things, if you're in that situation, what are the proper steps to take to avoid bullying. All right, reproductive systems, we talk about the different reproductive systems by both sexes. Nutrition, very important when you get into high school. Social emotional learning is always going to be there, and drugs and alcohol. More like a review, not so much the first time we learn about that, because they'll get that in 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. That's 9th grade. 10th grade, pretty cut and dry. 10th grade is your driver's ed program. We do a safe teen driving program, which is all through a video that we made as high school staff with a voiceover and everything. There's a quiz at the end, and a parent and teenager both do it together. So they both are, they're learning the different things for safe teen driving. That's 10th grade. 11th grade, which we did a lot of revamping with 11th grade. So first aid, CPR, we follow the Red Cross books through CPR. They will physically get down and work with someone and put a cast on them. They'll learn the CPR stuff, they'll have the dummies, they'll learn how to do it. They'll go through every step through the Red Cross, mental wellness, stress management, suicide prevention. And the one I really like is goal setting and decision making, because I think a lot of kids at this age need that in their lives, and just organizing themselves with a goal and how they make decisions, and bad decisions and good decisions, how they set up in life making those decisions. We really stress the stress management and mental wellness. We're actually working with Luann Benson. She's giving us a program that we are going to run for the first time this year as junior health classes about mental wellness, and a lot of guest speakers come in for that. And it's gotten better through the year. So 11th grade junior health content has gotten a lot better. So we're excited to do that new program. Senior year, you have a choice to be in Teen Pep, it's senior leadership class, and there's a group of students, 20 to 25 students that join senior leadership, and what they do is they talk and teach about safe sex, and they also during the year have at least 5 or 6 skits that they do throughout the year, and they have the freshman classes come in and they go through these scenarios and skits and teaching the freshmen not only themselves about safe sex. We learned about all the pregnancy stages again. We introduced a cancer awareness, review of the reproductive system, which is the first thing we do. It's kind of a week or 2 week thing that we go over that. We usually have a project to cancer awareness. We talk about domestic violence awareness and prevention, and we talk about the sexual abuse, dating violence, assault, and rape. Touchy subject, of course, but it's great. They need to learn these things when they go into the real world, college, wherever it may be. So there's a lot of good videos, a lot of good guest speakers come in through those health content areas. I didn't bore everyone. My information's on there. If anyone has a question or a concern with the curriculum, with the content at their son or daughter's age group, please feel free to email me or call me. I'll give you an answer right away, and we'll make sure. But I assure you that they're in great hands, and we're ready for an exciting year. We have a lot of new things that we're going to build with the phys ed program and health program in North Brunswick. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach Seibot. I also just want to reinforce that we did promise that we would post the curriculum, so I know that your team is working on getting it ready to get posted on the website sometime next week, so parents can see it. If they have questions, then they can reach out to you. We'll put this slideshow up there as well and make it available for everybody.
Thank you.
Great. Any questions, board members? Even about the football games? Or?
Actually, I have a quick question about the CPR thing for the juniors. Is there a possibility where we can tie that in to have them get certified? I mean,
Yes. I think at the end, I don't think I know, at the end of each course, we give something out where there's an option that if you want to take, after taking the class at the end of this semester, we let them take a class where they will get certified with
Gotcha.
CPR.
That's very
So it's
cool.
not
Yeah.
mandatory, but if, hey, and we have kids sign up all the time, so if you want to do it, they take a separate day, it might be like a Saturday, and they
Yeah.
take the test and they become certified.
gotcha. Great.
I
you
do
very
have
much.
one question. Hi, Mr. Seibot. So I understand that there has been a lot of, concern about the new curriculum standards for PE and health, particularly as it relates to the introduction to transgender, gender identity material. That has been a lot of the concern. My understanding about the reason for those standards is really to raise awareness and to promote tolerance. Is that also your understanding of the material?
So in the K-4 content, we to take what you said and make it into a K-4 where they would understand it is that, again, a lot of times we want these kids moving around in phys ed, so we have those 40 minutes. We don't want to say, all right, everyone sit down and then talk about, you do it with the game.
Right.
So how you do it with a game, you talk about equity, you talk about things that reproduce. So you can use the science things, they run down and you pick the thing that will reproduce, and they know that there are different living things that reproduce,
Right.
there's different things that, so you can teach that in a game. Definitely the equity part that, and we learn that through the character education as well. And that's something that I know Parsons has done, I know Livingston Park has done, where they have a program where we learn about everyone's equal, everyone's their own person, and that's what I wrote, like your personality.
Right.
That you learn that everyone is different and they're different in the right way.
Right, to
And
promote
we do
inclusion and,
that through
yes.
that class.
Right, so I just wanted to make sure that there's a misunderstanding, it seemed, right, statewide, maybe people just are not digging into the curriculum the way that, we all are. And that is the basis from my perspective for the misunderstanding, so I just wanted us to clarify that as much as possible, but I am glad to hear that we are posting the curriculum publicly for everyone to see, and to raise their own awareness if they have any concerns about that before they decide to opt out, if they do choose to do so.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, before we continue with the rest of the agenda, I actually wanted to introduce a guest we had this evening as well, Mrs. Nada Marsh, who is currently, is transitioning, or she'll be on the agenda this evening to be hired as one of the instructional deans at North Brunswick Township Middle School. So we're very excited that she came in tonight, if you wanted to say a word or two.
Hi, yes, so I'm Nada Marsh, so I'll be the new instructional dean. I see a lot of familiar faces, Mr. Brockman, Dr. Patel. I'm excited for the transition to serve the students, serve the community in this capacity, and I look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We really like when we hire a new admin to bring them in, so you can get a face with the name. And we're also hiring Mr. Noe Felice, who couldn't be here this evening, but he will be moving from being a Spanish teacher at MBTHS to being the other instructional dean at North Brunswick Middle School. So we had a big sudden transition, 2 openings, but it was very nice that we were able to get internal candidates and move them up into these positions. So thank you for coming tonight.
Mr. LaGuardia, can you take item number 6?
Sure. Mr. Vice President, I'll make a motion to approve the following board minutes: the conference and regular public meeting from July 27th and the executive meeting from July 27th as well.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have accepted the minutes.
Any communications?
No communications. I have my administrative report, and obviously we do not have students here yet. We will have them in September, so we have no student reports either. So good evening, board members, parents, community members here in person, and those viewing online. As summer begins to wrap up, our board offices and schools have been humming with activity with new registrations, 5 days of new staff orientation, a myriad of various teacher trainings, and last-minute touches to the cleaning and maintenance of all of our buildings. Students have been coming to orientations at MBTHS, MBTMS, and Linwood this week. And next week, there will be kindergarten and preschool orientations as well. Teachers has been coming in to set up their classrooms and prepare to welcome your children to start a new school year on Thursday, September 1st. It is our hope that as we move into this second school year after the start of COVID with full in-person learning again, that we will have a much more quote-unquote normal school year. I met today with our school nursing supervisor, Mary Ellen Engel, and our school advising physician, Dr. Amanda Baum, to discuss our district's focus on health and wellness this school year. While we will remain vigilant for any potential COVID outbreaks, this year will look very different from last year. Anyone who is sick, showing symptoms of an illness, will be asked to stay home while sick, and with a positive COVID case, students and staff will be required to stay home for that 5 days to isolate, and then wear a mask upon returning to school for another 5 days. We will not be quarantining or contact tracing as per the guidelines from the CDC. We do ask that parents continue to use the link on our website to report any positive COVID student cases, as we are still required to report any cases that we may have to the state. As was the case last year, masking remains optional. You will see on tonight's agenda a small update to our district calendar, which eliminates one of our half days for professional learning in October, since we have a full day scheduled on October 24th instead. Additionally, starting tomorrow, you will also be able to see a calendar that shows just early dismissal days for specific schools. The master calendar, with one exception for the high school PSAT early dismissal, only shows full district early dismissals. We just couldn't get everything on one calendar, and it would cause confusion for specific schools. So due to our contract, we have other early dismissal days for back to school nights, days prior to holidays, and so on. In September, so you will see this, it's a nice color coded, it'll be on the website, and it shows specific, if you're at the elementary schools and you have a back to school night half day, you'll see those dates, so parents can plan ahead and see all the half days related to their student. So you will also see coming out in early September a calendar survey that we ask all families to really participate in, so we can get your input as we develop calendars for the 23-24 and 24-25 school years. Please note that the pandemic-related federal free breakfast and lunch program has ended, so there will be no free lunches for everybody. It is extremely important to begin to apply for free or reduced lunch to determine if your child is eligible. Visit the district's website to complete an online application, and paper applications will also be sent to all of the schools and home with all students. You can also print them from our website. Completed paper applications can be returned to our website, to our district Board of Ed offices, and to each school. Not only does the application determine free and reduced priced meals, but it also determines additional benefits that you might qualify for. Additionally, North Brunswick Township schools receive state funding based on the applications, so it's important to our district funding to ensure that all eligible students are identified. So we highly recommend to everyone that whether you think you might be eligible or not, that you do fill out the paperwork regardless and send it in. Akimbo of this information will be going out tomorrow with all the links, and paper applications will be available at schools. We are very excited to welcome our students back next week and look forward to a productive and collaborative year with all our students and families. That's it for my reports.
Thank you. Any committee reports?
Sure, I'll go. The Education Committee met on Wednesday, August 17th. During that meeting, we discussed our status of grants, which is some of the federal funding we've received for ESEA, CEIS, ESSER funds. We've received approximately $1.7 million in grants. We have consulted as required with non-public schools to determine what their needs might be, and if we need to meet their funding requirements, and engaging in those conversations regarding their needs and our obligation to them. Our ESSER funds remain available until 2024, which is great to hear. The district is going to continue to utilize those funds to assist in targeting any existing achievement gaps. We also discussed our summer programs, which we mentioned maybe 2 months ago about what it was projected to look like. And they did, in fact, use a carnival theme. It was project-based and thematic. and it seems to have gone over extremely well, so I'm glad to hear that that was a success. We also discussed our assessments for summer. We talked about the NJSLA, Start Strong for the fall, and the district benchmarks. So the Start Strong assessment, which was first administered last year, is going to be administered again this September. The DOE has required that we administer those tests. Unfortunately, it's not well received by administration at this time, just because there is a lot of assessment that we've been talking about. There's a lot to do in the start of the school year, so we are going to comply, of course, but it's a little bit burdensome for us to complete that task. We're going to do our best with that, and we are still waiting for the NJSLA data to come through. We also talked about our pupil personnel services with and we talked about free and reduced lunch applications, as Superintendent Shiroko just mentioned, and the importance of that. So again, parents, please look out for the Kinvo, look out for all the correspondence that's going to come out to you. This is very beneficial to parents and also to the district as well, for us to have accurate information about our population and our students and community's needs. So there will be several initiatives to make sure that parents are engaged in that initiative and being responsive. So we really do hope that we have as high of a return rate as possible, but we will continue to report on that probably throughout the school year. Okay. Additionally, we were talking about the NJDOE. There's a finding from the Office of Special Education, so we are complying with that and just doing, providing some information to them to make sure that we are in compliance with our timelines for initial evaluations. We talked about curriculum instruction and technology. Our state review committee for the NJSLS, congratulations to the participants who have been chosen for that. We talked about our NJTSS update, which is very important for making sure that we're targeting for interventions and referral services for students who are not yet classified but might need additional supports. We discussed curriculum writing and our geometry and construction course, which we've mentioned before. We're very excited to hear that that is underway. We do have staff for that position. We discussed the math consultants, the ESL consultants, our gifted and talented consultants as well. And, while the phrase consultant might, stoke fear in some people, we're glad to hear that the value is being seen. So we're discussing for the ESL and ELL, our consultant helped to teach us how to mirror classrooms and to get a greater benefit from our academics and from our instruction, just based on how we set up the classroom. And there's many other anecdotes and strategies that they'll be providing us for those different areas. We also discussed the tech update for our Chromebooks, laptops, and things of that nature. And we ended with policies. So we reviewed policies 1511, policies 2415, policy 2432 is being abolished, policy 5513, 5722 are also being reviewed for first reading. At this time, there's no concerns with those policies, so we expect that we will continue to review at the next meeting, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. James. Mr. Wen?
None at this time.
Great, thank you. Mr. LaGorrie?
Mr. Vice President, the Business Operations Committee met last Wednesday night, and among the topics we discussed, we first went through the various facilities in the district. First, at the high school, the roofing work, thankfully, is scheduled to be completed by later this month. We then move on to solar installation. That work is already in progress. Permits have been sent to the town for review, but because that work will be going on during the school year, we need to establish where the parts will all sit so that nothing gets wrecked in the process. We also discussed the pending work on the security booth, and we're awaiting some renderings on that project. We moved on to the elementary schools. The big topic was the gym HVAC renovations. We talked about how we got some great pricing. We got ahead of the curve on that. It was awarded back in January. The drawings were okayed in February. The units were expected in July and August, and like much else, we haven't gotten the parts that we need yet. So we were happy to hear that when it was going to be delivered in December, that some folks worked their magic and it's coming in the next month or so. John Adams is going to be delivered mid-September to be installed by the end of September. Judd, Livingston Park, and Parsons will be delivered by the beginning of October to be installed by the end of October. We're working with the township to ensure that their inspectors are comfortable with the work we're doing as well. Back in the day, this probably would have influenced our back-to-school nights, but the elementary back-to-school nights don't really utilize a mass gathering in the gyms anymore over the last couple of years, so that thankfully is a non-issue. The middle school, the solar installation is in progress. There was a crane there last week. There's a crane there, I think, this week, today again. There's going to be a shutdown tomorrow so that we can hook the whole thing up. We talked about how there was going to be an extension of the T-Rex that was going to be filed. And we also talked about how there's some potential legislation out there that could allow extensions to all public entities for that solar. We're hoping the work will be wrapped up in October. And we talked about the Linwood roof project. The plan for that is to go out to bid in the fall. It's like 11,000 square feet by the gym. Mr. Campizano joined us for the meeting, our architect of record. He was saying that the districts that he works with, he hasn't really seen much interest from roofers because they're actually busy working on other projects right now. So it's an ongoing project. It is in spec for the fall. More to come. We got off of facilities. We talked about some other items. We talked about food service, and on our agenda tonight, the POS devices that we purchased, 27 in total for all around the district, are being motioned for approval. It's being funded by the Food Service Enterprise Fund. It's on page 29, item H. We talked about, when it comes to food service, much like Ms. James said, that we're emphasizing communications with families, the federal program, as Mrs. Chiroka said. The trough is run dry. There's no more free breakfasts and lunches anymore from the federal government. The families will need to apply to determine their eligibility for free breakfasts and lunches. We're saying that we're sending people online, but we're going to do paper forms if folks find that easier as well. We discussed the negative balances that are there, not a tremendous balance, but a bit of a balance, and we talked about ways to mitigate or reduce that going forward. And we talked about Chartwell's installing some food and drink vending machines, 5 of them at the high school and 1 each in all the other school buildings. The preschool playground equipment is being motioned for approval tonight, funded by our PIA grant, our yet unspent funds. We're motioning for Parsons and Judd tonight on page 30, items J and K. If you'll remember, the other 2 elementary schools were already approved in past months. We had a brief conversation about transportation. We were reminded that aid in lieu was provided to the non-public school parents except for Notre Dame. We were fortunate to get a jointure with South Brunswick on that route. We had a discussion about the daycare transportation for the elementaries, and also on our agenda tonight is a 24-seat van that was budgeted and was purchased through the cooperative purchasing agreement. It's on page 29, item I. Other district purchases tonight on the agenda for approval. The high school auditorium projector is on page 30, item R, and clocks for the entire high school are on page 30, item Q. We had a brief discussion about facilities rentals. It's been a while since we discussed setting rates for our facilities. We really haven't used our facilities quite that much as rental options over the last couple of years, obviously, but we're anticipating an uptick in that, and we'll begin to review those rental costs and do some benchmarking over the next couple of months, so more to come on that. And then finally, we discussed the one policy, 5517, which is for school district issued student ID cards. Briefly discussed that it's a mandated policy. There's no problem with it. It just, the main change is that it includes for grades 7 and 10, they must have a New Jersey student suicide prevention hotline number and contact info for a crisis text line on the ID going forward. That concludes the Business Operations Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Oligori. Ms. Toth?
Yes, Mr. Vice President, good evening, everyone. The Human Resources and Community Relations Committee met this evening, actually, before our board meeting tonight. The first couple of things we spoke about were retirements, resignations, some reassignments, both non-certificated and certificated, and some certificated staff as well. We want to thank the retirements and resignations for their time and dedication to our district. We spoke about some new positions that some staff members will be falling into for some reassignments as well as resignations throughout the district. We also spoke about some current leaves of absences, FMLAs that we have going on, as well as some childcare leaves of absences. We spoke about substitutes for the district. Ms. Kita met with 10 of our new substitutes today to do training. Some of our daily subs are actually previous teachers and staff members, which is excellent. We also spoke about some current vacancies that we have, both certificated and non-certificated. We have 8 certificated vacancies, as well as a few custodial positions and some other non-certificated positions. We spoke about sixth period teaching. We also spoke about some other stipend motions, some revised job descriptions moving forward, making them a bit more general, being that obviously there's a lot of changes going on throughout positions throughout the year. We will be motioning 2 sidebars this evening after our closed session, which we'll be able to read aloud toward the end of our meeting. We also spoke about the NBT Schools Hiring and Exiting Guide, which Ms. Amy Kita put together for our district. She worked extremely hard on it, and it will be able to be viewed by all on our district website once it's fully completed. And then just in regard to community relations, we did also speak about the free and reduced lunch, as well as having that listed on our website, as well as the paper copies that parents and guardians will be able to fill out as well. And that concludes our report.
Thank you, Ms. Toth. Dr. Patel?
None at this time.
Ms. Zulik?
Not at this time.
Great, thank you. Ms. Toth, can I get a motion number 9?
Sure, Mr. Vice President. I'd like to make a motion to approve the administrative reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All the reports are accepted.
Great. This time we'll review the agenda items for tonight, page by page. Starting with page 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, 19 and 20, 21 and 22, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28, 29 and 30, 31 and 32, 33 and 34, 35 and 36. If there are no questions, we'll open up for public session for agenda items only. Seeing none, Dr. Patel, can you make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This session is closed.
Ms. Zola, can you take item number 13?
Yes. Motion to approve the following consent agenda items: personnel, curriculum, miscellaneous, financial items 1 through 3, policy, and transportation.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the second? I heard.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. James. Mr. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Mr. Lagori?
Yes.
Dr. Patel?
Yes.
Ms. Toth?
Yes.
Mr. Wen?
Yes.
And Ms. Zolik?
Yes.
All the motions are accepted.
I'd like to make, we'll open up for public session on any matter now.
You may have to push the button and let it restart. There it goes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beth Hasner. I'm the president of the North Brunswick Township Education Association. I just want to, welcome everyone back as we are starting the new school year next week. Our teachers are currently setting up their classrooms. They're very excited to welcome our students next week. We're all very excited to get back. We look forward to working on a partnership with the district to help get all of those free and reduced lunch forms signed because we know that it benefits all of us. And so we are really looking forward to working with you to get that job done. We also appreciate the district sending out a Kimbo message on our behalf. The NBTEA is currently giving out 200 backpacks to North Brunswick students. We actually are doing it right now at our office and also on Saturday. And so we are very happy that we were able to help 200 North Brunswick students have a full backpack with full school supplies. I look forward to seeing you now every month. And, have a wonderful start to the school year.
You too.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank
Nestor.
you. Anybody else? Ms. James, can you make a motion to close?
Sure, I move to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second.
Close the public.
Public session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The public session is closed.
Okay. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presented exist, now therefore be it resolved by the North Brunswick Township Board of Education that the public shall be excluded from the discussion of and action upon and hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: negotiations and legal matters. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such time as a need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Somebody make a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make that motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We can go into closed session.
Thank you.
Night, Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Legori, can you make a motion to open up?
Yeah, motion to go back into open session, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are back in open session.
Okay, Ms. Toth, can you give me a motion for the first sidebar agreement?
Yes, Mr. Vice President. I'd like to make a motion to approve 2 sidebar agreements between the North Brunswick Township Board of Education and the North Brunswick Township Education Association for the 2022 through 2024 contract agreement relative to Article 10, Section N and Appendix C of the salary schedule.
Second.
Oh,
Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Ms. James,
Yes.
Mr. Legori,
Yes.
Dr. Patel,
yes.
and Ms. Toth,
Yes.
Mr. Wen,
Yes.
and Ms. Zolik.
Yes.
The sidebar is accepted.
Thank you. Ms. Toth, can we have the second one?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve a sidebar agreement between the North Brunswick Township Board of Education and the North Brunswick Township Administrative Education Association for the 2021 contract through 2024 contract agreement relative to Appendix A salary schedule.
Second.
Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Ms. James,
Yes.
Mr. Legori,
Yes.
Dr. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Toth,
Yes.
Mr. Wen,
Yes.
and Ms. Zolik.
Yes.
This sidebar is also accepted.
Thank you. Ms. Patel, can you make an adjournment?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:02 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Great job, Dave, folks. Good job, Dave. 2 in a row.
The reason why I looked at you is because it said 2021.
Yes.